Is the US government about to dump $4.3 billion of Bitcoin onto the market? Ethereum Layer 2 Scrolls airdrop is launching soon, but some people are already upset, and SUI has just begun a process that could catapult them to the top. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when I drop the latest content. Follow us on Twitter, AltcoinBuzzIO, and as always, not financial advice, and wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Have you guys seen our new trading section in Discord yet? Starting this week, we now have a dedicated trading section to discuss all kinds of altcoins and TA. On top of that, I'm also sharing my own trading setups that I'm taking in real time that you can follow along with, as well as educational videos to help you get started trading. But if you're not a trader, no worries, we have sections on Bitcoin, altcoins, gaming, and NFTs as well, and it's all for free. So join us in the Discord today with the link down below. All right, so starting off with Bitcoin today, we're holding around $62,000, but it's not looking very bullish anymore. We're lacking a lot of momentum to the up or downside. We're just in the same little range for the past 48 hours, just chopping around here, slowly bleeding down. We kind of want to find a direction soon if we're going to do something, but it looks like it's probably going to come down to macroeconomic events later on this week. So right now we're lacking momentum, mostly because we have some big decisions coming up later this week. So the first of this is due today at 2 p.m. It's the minutes of the Federal Reserve September meeting, which was the surprise 0.5% interest rate cut back in September. Then we have the September print of the Consumer Price Index and Producer Price Index on the 10th and 11th, as well as unemployment data. So if we go over to Forex Factory's calendar, we can see all the events happening. And the big ones are always the ones in red. So today we have FOMC minutes meeting, but more importantly, we have core CPI, unemployment claims. And then Friday we have GDP, as well as employment change and unemployment rate and PPI. So it seems like Bitcoin and everyone is just unfortunately waiting for whatever is going to happen later on this week. It sucks we got into crypto to be kind of disconnected from all that, but now here we are, just waiting on what happens with the presidential election, what happens with, FOMC and CPI and whatever. So unfortunately, we're waiting for that. And they go on to say here that Trader Skew, in one of his analysis, said, generally speaking, risk assets haven't moved very much, and we'll likely see them start trading again post CPI and PPI later this week, and more likely in the end of October. Now, Skew also mentioned that the GDP estimates and the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, which is actually the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, which is PCE, which is coming later, is more impactful to the Fed. So that's something that we want to watch. Regarding Bitcoin, the mood is very cautious, and unfortunately, we're just waiting for everyone to see what's going to happen. Now, it seems like another thing too is the Coinbase Premium, which is the US, exchange. The demand is very low, and so when there's a Coinbase Premium, which is the Coinbase Premium measures the difference between the spot prices of Coinbase's Bitcoin and Binance's Bitcoin pairs. Now, when it's a positive premium, it leads to bigger bets of sustained upward price momentum. And right now we have a falling premium, which just means big US investors are not interested in Bitcoin at this price. It could be the elections coming in less than a month from now, which is a very big one. Also the fears of the potential Bitcoin being dumped on us, multitude of things. And that leads me to this point, which is the US government is now set to sell $4.38 billion in seized Bitcoin. The US Supreme Court has declined to review a case concerning the ownership of 69,370 Bitcoin worth $4.3 billion seized by the government from the Silk Road marketplace. Battleborn Investments, which had claimed rights to the Bitcoin through a bankruptcy estate, had its appeal rejected, and after failing to convince lower courts of its claim, this decision clears the way now for the US government to sell the Bitcoin. Whether they will sell the Bitcoin or not is a whole other case, but it just clears them up to do that, which is not ideal. We remember what happened back when the German government was starting to sell Bitcoin. For like a week, it just sold off. Ultimately, it came back afterwards, but for just a week, it was just constant sell-offs, and then that led to the whole collapse over in Japan with the yen carry trade. So if we start a U.S. government sell-off going into elections, that's not going to be very good. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a lot of just kind of wait and see going on right now with Bitcoin. So like we said earlier, we're kind of rejecting here from the 63.5 area. We'll probably come back down here to 60K in the next couple of days or so, I'd say. But ultimately, it's really going to matter what happens later on this week with the whole Fed, CPI, and all those claims. Moving on, we now have Scroll, the Ethereum Layer 2. They announced their SCR token airdrop ahead of a Binance listing. So Scroll is a ZK rollup scaling solution for Ethereum, and they announced their airdrop for their native token. Now, they gave a lot of it to Binance Launch Pool, which we'll get to in a minute, which is a little bit controversial for some people who've been farming Scroll for the past 2 years. So the Scroll token enables Scroll's mission of building scalable, secure infrastructure and accelerating real-world adoption and global distribution. Now, they have a 1 billion total supply, of which 15% or 150 million SER tokens are going to be split between airdrops in 2 phases. First is 7% and 8%. And so the SCR airdrop is going to take place on the 19th, 3 days before the airdrop on the 22nd. Now, Scroll said its first phase would focus on rewarding on-chain users for their engagement within the ecosystem. So this is people who have been farming airdrops for the past 2 years, looking to get a bit of the airdrop claim. But meanwhile, Binance announced 55 million SCR as a launch pool token rewards, which is 5.5% of the total token supply. So Binance had received a bunch of this SCR for rewards. And this is where people got a little bit upset because after they announced that, 4 whales borrowed 195,500 BNB worth $112 million from Venus and deposit to Binance to participate in farming pretty much all of the airdrop rewards. So they have, 37, 29, 22, 22 million. Between these 4 whales, they're farming all of the airdrop rewards. So it really doesn't help out that a lot of the smaller people with average size wallets on Binance aren't able to farm these rewards. So that was a bit annoying. And you can see here in the comments, people were saying, user who used it for more than 2 years now became a joker by Scroll. Scroll taking an L for allocating a lot to Binance pool. They're not going to make it. And unfortunately, we worked for 2 years and the whales came in and threw away all our efforts within 2 days because of their money. This will not, the users will not forget. This was a similar thing happened when the Hamster Combat team released their token a couple weeks ago now. Hamster Combat came out and they had a failure of a launch and the token price dumped and a lot of it went to Binance and people were just really upset. All these people who had been farming hamster tokens for the past 6 months or so. And then all the comments were just bashing them because it was like, hey, you at the last minute you gave into the exchanges and here we are now. A lot of users not happy. Rip Scroll. So they don't have a token we can analyze yet, but I imagine it's not going to be amazing at the launch. We'll come back to this at October 22nd. Next, SUI. Man, SUI's just been doing big things. They achieved a new milestone with their market cap surpassing 8.5 billion. Although I'm sure it's probably down a little because it, we're at $1.94 after it reached its all-time high again here at 216. But SUI is an interesting one because they've just been pushing for the past month. And you can see here, SUI ranks among the top 3 altcoins by net inflow in the past month. So much has been coming into SUI in terms of, meme coins and becoming this huge chain that everyone wants to be a part of now that the price is going up because the price really leads the trend. So everyone's bridging across ecosystems to bridge to SUI. SUI accounts for over 9% of the capital flow from Ethereum, which is massive. SUI's dominance has risen 270% over the past couple months with its price, obviously. And another big thing is that SUI has just launched native USDC via the Navi protocol. Now, stablecoins coming in natively on a chain is massive because it brings in a lot more money to the chain and brings a lot more credibility to the chain. And so as we see here, the integration with $120 million in USDC marks the 3rd largest supply of USDC in the industry, which is huge. So following Aave and Compound, Navi is the primary DeFi and liquidity protocol on SUI. And now SUI has native USDC, which refers to a stablecoin issued directly on a blockchain, as opposed to when it's bridged over. And this relies on third-party networks, which are always getting hacked, these bridges. So it's good that it's native USDC now, and it's backed fully by the dollar, and you can just exchange it straight with USDC on their site if you wanted. Now, this is huge. Having the 3rd largest USD stablecoin inflow onto their chain, that's going to be massive for SUI, and I'm sure they're going to keep going even farther. However, I wanted to show you this chart because I thought this was very interesting. SUI has just been up only, and I made a little fractal. I made a fractal here from this over here, and fractals don't always play out, but a lot of things are repetitive in crypto and markets. And so I made this little chart to kind of demonstrate what could happen. And I think over time, in the next maybe couple weeks, this might play out where we come down and we wick down to this 143 area. Now, this is a level of support I marked out because it's a huge level. You can see we came up here, rejected, then we retested and became support, came down, support again, and then we broke through it and it became resistance. So this is a big level here at 143. Now, I think, and I was planning for a longest time for this to come back down here and retest this 143 area because it looked like it was topping out a little bit for the short term. And then I made this fractal and I placed it over it and I was like, wow, that looks pretty similar to what I would imagine would happen. Probably something with like scares over the Bitcoin Mount Gox, or sorry, not Mount Gox, the Bitcoin Silk Road being sold off by the US government, something like that, where we get this like flash wick down to 143 and then we get bought back up. I could see that happening. Now, I don't see, this playing out straight to the T, but I see, we've been having a little bit of a corrective consolidation on SUI over the next few weeks before we make another continued run up, because you can see we wicked up here into this this all-time high multiple times. That's not usually very bullish when we wick up here. I mean, this candle right here, this next one, this daily candle is pretty bullish of a buyback, but I mean, I feel like it needs a little bit of consolidation sideways for a week or so before we continue this, insane sustained run up. You can see when a coin is losing momentum, it goes straight up and then it starts to chop a bunch and the chops get even more intense. So this is why I thought we would be, consolidating down here for a couple weeks before continuing up. But that's my analysis on SUI. We'll see if that plays out. This thing could just keep going. I mean, there's so much more money in the system that they could just keep pumping into this thing, and who knows, maybe we'll just keep going higher. Lastly for today, TON coin. TON has entered a slight downturn after a week of bullish momentum, and this is despite the fact that they now have an insane amount of users. So TON's price has experienced a notable impact as the open network celebrates 100 million users, which is massive. At the beginning of the year, they had 4.3 million users. Now they're at 100 million. TON is a network that I think is going to be massive because they already had the users. Telegram had these, I don't even know how many billions of users they already had. So TON is a coin that just natively has users built into it. And with what they've done with the apps of, the different gaming apps, Hamster Combat and whatnot, and all these other ones popping up, they have the ability to kind of take Web3 to the masses much easier. Now, I will say the thing about their coin price is it's not looking too good after, Telegram CEO Pavel Durov got arrested, and then they decided, hey, for my freedom, I'm going to now give the government your information if they ask. So Telegram had a little bit of a controversy there, and TON has not done well since then. But can it rebound? I think it can. I think TON is going to be one of the top ones between Solana, TON, and SUI. I could see them being some of the top layer ones this cycle. But I will say, I think TON is in for a bit of a sideways consolidation. I drew this. So this is what I was talking about with the SUI top. This is what a distribution top looks like. We come up, we have these sharp spikes. Anytime it gets to a price, it immediately wicks down. And you can see it now. We're starting to have that Bart hairstyle where it comes down. I could see us not coming down completely for the entirety of the cycle, but I could see us consolidating here for maybe a couple months around this $4.50 level, somewhere around here, or even around $5. But somewhere around here, I think we're going to consolidate for a couple months before we continue this run up, because it's just been so explosive with all of the different gaming apps. And now that, Hamster Combat hasn't done as well as it should have, people are starting to look for the next thing, which is SUI. And because right now there's not a whole lot of attention in crypto, it will come back, but because there's not a whole lot of attention, the money is just rotating out to different things. So right now, all that money that was in TON and their different games and meme coins, that money has now rotated out to SUI. And then at some point, there was a Tron cycle for like 2 weeks where Tron meme coins were doing well. So all the money has to cycle between different layer ones and different meme coins and whatnot. So I think we're going to see this little bit of a consolidation for a few weeks to a few months on TON before we head back up. But between TON, SUI, and Solana, I'm excited for those different ecosystems this cycle. I think that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.